ball togs, lean and scrappy, hands resting confidently on his hips, his square jaw, head tilted to the side in that cocky, self-assured manner, is not the father I knew, who at 47 became my father long after he was born in another era back in 1897. Not the shy, sensitive, unpretentious father, so difficult to fathom, who tenaciously guarded his inner world, not from selfishness, but out of modesty, and perhaps out of shame. Not the decent, devoted father, the melancholy, anxious father, whose strong hands glided effortlessly across the piano, putting to wondrous music what could not be put into words. I loved and worried about that father, wondered about his childhood in that big immigrant family of which he never spoke. These days, all that is left to fill in the blank canvas is my speculation and imagination. It's a lonely undertaking that has left its mark upon a sadness not unlike his. I can see him still at the piano, a baby mahogany Steinway, in the corner of the living room. After he and Mom divorced, it was virtually his only possession, aside from a few books of poetry and my childhood bed in that sparse, tiny studio apartment in which he lived out his later years. I both hated and loved that piano, hated it for getting his attention and the touch of those hands for which I hungered, yet loved it for letting me peek into the inner world of my beloved dad, a world revealed through his music, sometimes thunderous and turbulent, sometimes sorrowful and tender. These musical giants of his, Chopin, Beethoven, Schumann, Mozart, and so many others, haunted the house like ghosts welcomed at the table. I wish I could throw my arms around him now, that shy, withdrawn man at the piano, long gone to rest, who came alive through his music and in that moment really shined. I can only hope he knew how much I loved him, how proud of him I was, with those strong, talented hands that, back in time long ago, caught a football in that rough and tumble sport. As in my imagination, he then ran like the wind and scored a touchdown to win the day. A few more poems. This is a poem called Passion. There is this magic moment, this between time, this time between sleeping and waking, this delicious, sensuous moment when two bodies so in love with each other reach out sleepily in the night as if driven by some primordial need to nestle together. How I love the fullness of your beautiful brown body pressed warm next to mine, arms and legs entwined, my belly rising and falling peacefully against the small of your back as I cradle you and we breathe together in unison. My hands hold your soft, firm breasts, fondling them gently, as you lean toward me, inviting me with your full, sensuous lips. We kiss lazily in the dark, cooing amorously, our lips embracing, our tongues exploring. Soon I am inside you, in the warm, wet shelter between your thighs, our bodies undulating rhythmically in some ancient archetypal dance. One more. Let me see if I can find it. Here we are, page 26. This is a poem called Confession. I have lived a life of crime and debauchery. I am a bold, unapologetic poetry thief, hoping to seduce the unwary with the fruits of my plagiarism. On many a night I've been known to sit in my living room in the dead of night, blinds drawn, lights off, flashlight in hand, dressed in black, watch cap pulled tight over my ears, scouring the poetry of others, searching for some tender morsel to steal, some profound or witty thought, when my own well has run dry, hoping to rework it, then spit it out as my own, rather like a dog marking territory when he wasn't the first to visit the fire hydrant. To tell you the truth, the whole idea for this poem came from Billy Collins, who I ran into one night during a rampage of thievery when he was up to his elbows stealing an image from Ferlinghetti. So here I sit, fearful for the knock on the door when the poetry police come to arrest me for breaking and entering, and ship me off bound and shackled to some godforsaken rehabilitation center for plagiarists, run by dutiful Jehovah's Witnesses, all bright and shiny, watchtower in hand, who eagerly deliver the latest copy to my lonely cell, hoping to convert me from my life of crime to a life of service, doing God's work, distributing his gloomy apocalyptic literature to the lonely, the bereft, and the benighted, warning of Satan and promising believers entry into the kingdom of God, where there will be no dancing or carousing and no goddamn poetry. One more, and then we're going to end with one that Schawkie and I are going to do together. This is called A Dozen Things I Want. I want the rapture to come quickly so I can redecorate my living room with all the cool stuff that will be left behind. I want Reb Schneerson, that renowned Hasidic rabbi, to order a ham sandwich at Denny's and dance in the street singing A Whole Lot of Lovin' Going On. I want our racist, misogynistic president to be marched out of the White House in golden handcuffs and taken to a psych ward for treatment for his megalomania. I want the Department of Defense to step up and rename itself the Department of Terror and Domination. I want all the animals in the zoo to be sent home with an apology or given the option to stay and vote. I want the lion and the lamb to lie down together without the lamb needing a Valium to get a good night's sleep. I want us to retire the national anthem and replace it with Solidarity Forever. I want God to declare he is neither Christian, Muslim, or Jew, but instead is an atheist disgusted with the behavior of all three. I want the Supreme Court to declare money is not speech, that zygotes and corporations are not people, and that socialism is not a dirty word. I want the prisons to empty themselves of petty thieves and make room for the Wall Street hustlers who are the real criminals. I want America to take a good hard look in the mirror and for the government to get down on its knees and pray for forgiveness for its history of genocide and slavery. And I want global warming to be arrested in its tracks by a tsunami of imagination, kindness, and awe that will rescue us from our boneheaded selves. So I think we'll end with a poem called Nature's Bounty. I want you to pretend you're in church because we're going to do a call and response here. I'm going to do a verse and Schawkie's going to play the flute, and I'm going to do a verse, and he's going to play the flute, and we're going to go back and forth like this. Okay? Nature's Bounty. When the sorrows of the world are too much with me, and despair darkens my days, I seek refuge in the untamed places, where red-tipped blackbirds dart across the marshes and trill with simple eloquence. Where the turkey vultures and red-tailed hawks glide effortlessly across the blue sky and ride the wind currents in tranquil splendor. Where the great blue heron silently stalks amid the reeds with exquisite beauty and infinite patience.